Hey, listen, if I was YNW Bortlen and I didn't plan these murders with you and you just popped off in the car because you was tweaking and killed two of the homies on that night and then trying to get me to help you to cover it up and to go along with it in a promise for you're going to take me to the heights of fame with you because we're going to blow up big after this, this is my moment to shine. I'm taking this damn plea deal. That's all I'm saying. Welcome back to Brainflow TV. You already know what it is. Hit that subscribe button if you've never been here before. And let's get right into this story right here. Y'all know we've been following this case for a while, right? YNW Melly. YNW Bortlen. Matter of fact, a lot of people have been wondering, where the hell is Bortlen? Because we see a lot of Melly, but we don't see too much of Bortlen. Melly is always in and out of court. His lawyers are fighting, saying he is locked up and they're treating him inhumanely. He's not getting any visits. Last time he saw his mama or his family members on a visit was years ago. He doesn't get any mail. You know, they're trying to get bail for him pending trial. His lawyers keep filing motion. They keep going back to court. His court date keeps getting pushed forward into the future more and more. Now it's all the way at 2027. And we've been wondering, where the hell is YNW Bortlen? Well, YNW Bortlen showed up in court yesterday. The state's been planning all along. Let me give you all a gist of what's going on, straight from this right here, and then we'll get into what my personal thing is. Because, you know, I got my little lead sheet, stuff I want to talk about pertaining to this case. So it says, YNW Bortlen, who is YNW Melly's co-defendant, got offered a plea deal by the state of Florida yesterday. Plea deal. This is what we've been talking about all along. Will they give YNW Bortlen a plea deal? And if he does, if they do give it to him, will he take it? And if he takes it, is YNW Melly's goose cooked? YNW Melly is up shit's creek without a paddle. Or will YNW Bortlen scuff at the plea deal, say, I don't want it, I'm 10 toes down, Melly the homie, I'm standing on what I said originally, which is we did not commit any murders, or we didn't stage the murders to look like a drive-by. What I said happened was what happened, and we taking it to trial. Which one will it be? Because he has a lot to lose. I could imagine YNW Melly's or YNW Bortlen's mom and his family members right now begging him, please, listen, Bortlen. I'm sure they don't call him Bortlen because his real name is Cortlen Henry. I'm sure they probably got another name for him, but Cortlen, take the deal. Take the deal. At least you get to come home at some point. So we're going to get into the details of the deal and what we think about to happen, right? His demeanor in court, his reaction to the judge telling him what he's facing, all of that. So, YNW Bortlen is currently charged with capital murder and wire tampering in a fatal shooting in the YNW series associates. So, a Florida judge outlined a plea deal, right, yesterday, that could drastically shorten the prison time that YNW Bortlen, or Cortlen Henry, his real name, is facing. That I'll admit, that deal is a sweet ass deal. I'll admit, I'm taking it. Judge Martin S. Fiend, he told Henry, which is Bortlen, in Broward County Circuit Court, that the prosecutors are willing to drop y'all gotta listen to this. He said, the prosecutors are willing to drop 2 first-degree murder counts if he agrees to plead no contest to 6 remaining charges. including accessory after the fact, witness tampering, conspiracy, and gang-related offenses. These are the ones they want him to plead no contest to. And if he does, they'll drop the 2 first-degree murder counts. The plea would result in a sentence of 16 years and 3 months. And it is supposed to be served concurrently with credit for the time that he has already been placed in custody. Okay, I don't know if they're going to take the time off that he did before he was let out on bail, because Bortlen did some time before then he was let out on bail. And then he went back because he went to the strip club where he wasn't supposed to go. He went back, did some more time, got let out on bail again. And then went back and has been locked up ever since. So I don't know if they're going to take it from each time he was locked up pertaining to this case. Like a year here, another year there, 2 years here. That'll be about 4 years. Subtract that from the 16 years. And then you'll have, what, 12 years to do? I say he'll be home in about 10. A lot of people are going to tell YNW Bortlen or Cortlen Henry they don't want you for first-degree murder, and they can't prove that you did 2 first-degree murders. They can't prove that you did it. They said they swabbed his hands for gunshot residue before and after. None was found on his hands. He was the driver of the vehicle. He could not have been driving the vehicle and had executed somebody in the back seat, plus the person next to him in the front seat. It all points to Melly, who was sitting directly behind Bortlen while Bortlen was driving the vehicle. So he executed one person, sack chaser, who was sitting up front in the passenger seat, but he was asleep. And then it woke up YNW Juvie, who was on the passenger side rear. And when it woke him up when the gun went off, Melly executed him too. That sounds more feasible than YNW Bortlen being the driver and the executioner, right? So you could be charged with being an accomplice. You could be charged with whatever else they're going to charge him with. But they definitely can't charge him with or can't prove 2 first-degree murder. They're going to take that first-degree murder to trial, and it probably wouldn't stand. However, all his other charges would stand. And his other charges, they carry some heavy, hefty fines. Check it out. So without the deal, Henry could face multiple mandatory life sentences across 2 separate cases, stemming from allegations that tie him to the 2018 shooting death of YNW rappers Anthony YNW Sack Chaser Williams and Christopher YNW Juvie Thomas Jr. That's Juvie and Sack Chaser. Prosecutors alleged that Melly, who was born Jamel Demons, he was the one who actually carried out the shootings. So while YNW Bortlen assisted in the cover-up of the crime and was the driver and is still 10 toes down on it's not what y'all said it was, it's exactly what we said it was. It was a drive-by, we didn't stage it. Melly didn't murder nobody, he wasn't even in the car. Melly remains jailed as he awaits a retrial after a mistrial happened earlier for him. So by the time Melly goes to trial, I think it'll be like 8 years since he has been incarcerated waiting for a verdict, a guilty or not guilty. Judge Fiend carefully reviewed the charges in open court, and the judge said, you know why I'm doing this? I'm basically doing this because I've seen, basically he was telling him, look, I've seen a lot of people blow off these deals that the state gives, the prosecutors give you, and They act like, you know, it ain't nothing, I don't want it, I'm taking it to trial. And then when they take it to trial and they get hit with a life sentence in these Florida courts in the state of Florida, now you're doing a life sentence in the state of Florida. Now they're saying, well, nobody told me that I could have taken care of this on a 16-year deal, got this all wrapped up or whatever. Now I got a life sentence, like my rights were violated or I didn't understand clearly. So the judge said, I'm doing this, so you will not have that as an excuse. The judge told him, I can't make you an offer, and I cannot make you accept any offers. I'm just a referee in all of this. This is a business decision between you, your lawyers, the state, and the judge was stressing that YNW Bortlen faced no pressure to accept the offer and urged him to discuss it with his attorneys and his family. Judge Feen actually set a September 9th hearing date for Henry. So September 9th, they go back to court. There's going to be a hearing to announce his decision. This is when Henry YNW Bortlen is going to say, I accept the plea deal, or I don't want it, I'm taking it to trial. September 9th. So look out for that. That's not far away. With his trial, with trials on both cases currently slated for September 10th. So if he goes and he says, I don't want the plea deal, they are going to trial immediately. I actually got the date that they were starting his trial would be September 17th. But in this report right here, it says the trial on both cases are currently slated for September 10th. He has two cases. This hearing also included a procedural safeguard where Judge Feen placed Bortlen on the stand, put him under oath. He basically wanted to make sure that he was mentally competent, that he understood what was being said to him, that he wasn't under the influence of any drugs that they might be giving him inside of the facility where he is incarcerated at, that his mental health was in a good place, and that he was comprehending everything. He wasn't impaired in any way. He basically dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. So now, YNW Bortlen has until September 9th to decide if he's going to take this plea deal or not. The judge also said this will give you some time so you could discuss this with your family. And I said before, I could see his mama right now saying, son, please take the deal. Let's walk this down and get out of there. Your friend is never coming out. You know what's crazy? Henry's decision could bring an end to one of South Florida's most closely watched criminal cases, or it could set the stage for a high-stakes trial where the alternative remains life in prison without the possibility of parole for him and the death penalty for YNW Melly. All depends on what Bortlen says on September 9th. Now, let's talk about this part. When the judge said life plus life plus life plus life plus life plus 75, that's what Bortlen is facing. I gathered life times 5 plus 75. The look on Bortlen's face was like, he looked like he's ready to accept it. Like he's ready to accept the deal, but he's trying to stay hard. Like he's trying to stay up. Like he's trying to put on a facade. You know, everybody is tough, right? until they go to court and that judge says life in prison without the possibility of parole. You ain't tough no more. Everybody is tough until the police comes. Everybody is tough until soldiers comes. Everybody is tough until law enforcement squad pulls up. You're not tough no more. This is that moment for Bortlen. You can see him breaking but trying to hold it together. Hearing a judge in a courtroom say life plus life plus life, I know he can't help but to think, damn, this is him reading me this, telling me what I'm facing. Imagine if this was him actually sentencing me. That's how it would sound. And I wouldn't have any recourse after today. Yeah, you could go appeal it, but you're going to have to walk some of that time down before it ever gets to an appeal. And on appeal, nothing is guaranteed. A lot of people appeal their cases and lose all the time. I'm going to be honest with y'all, man. I watched that first trial. And the first trial, the state was solid. They have so much evidence that it just made the case drag and drag and drag. And I think that was a part of what confused the jurors after a while. But there is so much evidence in this case that points to guilty on both Bortlen and YNW Melly's part. If I was YNW Bortlen, I'm accepting this plea deal. Bortlen's lawyer, his lawyer in the courtroom looks old. His lawyer looks like he's on his last leg. Yeah, these lawyers, when you get older, you've been doing this for a while, you kind of know all the laws inside out. Young lawyers got to go look in the books and find section C, Article B-1. Older lawyers oftentimes don't have to do that because they've been doing this for 30, 40 years. They've used that statute many times. They know exactly where it's at in the books. But he just seemed like he's not ready for this. He seems like he just throwing caution to the wind, and he might be a good attorney. But for a fight like this, Bortlen's going to need a younger, more invigorated, energetic attorney who goes aggressively at whatever it is he's trying to defend him from. Because like I said, the state has a lot of evidence. A lot of evidence. And I'll watch the case. I'll watch everything about this trial. All the evidence that was presented at trial. For instance, they were able to track everybody's cell phone, right? YNW Bortlen's cell phone was with YNW Melly's cell phone. Just the cell phones. The towers are tracking. YNW Bortlen's cell phone was with YNW Melly's cell phone the entire time. This is how they were able to actually go to the location where they drove off somewhere in some backwoods area and staged the shooting. That's how they knew where they were at, because they tracked it back and it led them to that area, and that's where they found spent shells and all that. They didn't find those spent shells on a stretch of highway where YNW Melly and Bortlen claims that a drive-by shooting took place. They found it where the cell phone led them to that area. Here's the thing. After that location, watch the map, watch the tracker, watch the cell phones moving. You will see YNW Bortlen's cell phone leaves and it goes in a different direction, and then YNW Melly's cell phone is with him then. YNW Melly's cell phone ends up at a video shoot the next day. You know, when you end up at the hospital, you got 2 dead bodies in the car. The last thing the law is gonna let you do is go back in that car and search the car and take out all your personal belongings and put them on yourself and get up out of there. That's not how it works. You're free to leave if we don't think you're a suspect. If we think you're just a victim, you're free to leave. But you're definitely not going to be able to get back in the car because it is all now evidence, potential evidence, right? The car is riddled with bullets. There are 2 dead bodies in it. So YNW Melly's cell phone could not have been left in the car. So they can't even use that as an excuse. Oh, y'all tracking the cell phones, but my cell phone fell out in the car from earlier. Nah. Your cell phone, Bortlen wasn't able to go back in the car and take out anything. And when they saw him first, he didn't have that cell phone with him. Your cell phone was with you. You jumped out of the car. We saw it on the map. You went your separate way. That's how Fredo Bang name came into this. Because they tracked his cell phone too. And Fredo Bang's cell phone is seen meeting up with Melly's cell phone. If I was Bortlen, I'm taking this deal. And like I said in the beginning of this video, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Wrong is wrong. Right is right. Juvie, Sack Chaser, they deserve justice. Their family deserves justice. These boys were friends from sandbox days. And apparently, the falling out is over stuff that you should never be killing your friends, your day ones over. So I'm not about killing my friends, right? So that's a personal thing. But as far as the plan goes, if YNW Melly and YNW Bortlen planned this together, and then Bortlen decides in his mind, I don't want to snitch on him because we planned it together. We planned that we was going to kill Sack Chaser and Juvie, and we were going to split all the rest of the money for a group of 4. Now it's down to a group of 2. If you got $1 million to split between 4 people, it's $250,000 a piece. If you eliminate 2 of those persons, now you got $500,000 a piece to split. If that was the plan, and that's what they were working on, and he decides he's not taking the plea deal, he's sticking to the story because he got to ride this out for the homie, then that's called not snitching and standing on business. If you accept that kind of life, then my hat's off to him, right? Instead of turning on your homie after you committed a crime with him, knowing it was a crime. But on the flip side, if all I was doing was driving down the street with all 3 of you in the car and your ass started tweaking in the back seat and you just pulled out the gun and executed everybody, and now you want me to help you cover it up, I didn't plan that with you. You took me by surprise. And now that I've witnessed you commit double murder of our 2 homies, I'm thinking you might kill me too. So I'm going along with the plan for as long as I could. But this plea deal right here says exit. And I'm about to take this exit and let you go on your ride. How y'all feel? Leave your comments in the comment section below. I'll catch you on the next video. I'm out.